So, hello and thank you everyone. Today I want to be talking about image recognition in testing, so image-based testing. About myself, I'm Stefan, CTO at this company, testup.io, and we are pretty small, pretty young, but we have a few logos for which we are doing test automation services. What is the problem I want to talk about? Is how do we identify an element on screen that we want to interact with. Let's assume we want to click this hamburger menu. A human would just say hamburger menu, and with simple AI tools nowadays you can also recognize quite a few elements. But if you're using Playwright or Cypress, then you have to write XPaths and selectors, and they can become quite unreadable. And an alternative way to identify the object is just use the image. And that's what I want to talk about now. What would be the benefit of using images over text strings? Let's look at this simple script from Selenium. And you see that if I replace all these selectors with images, it would be much easier to see what the script actually identifies and what it interacts with. This is the vision. I would like to have it like this to have the test more readable. But what is the reality right now? What would be the benefits of this, apart from being more readable? If you can share multiple devices, you can share assets across a mobile and a browser, and you can have the same asset if you use a browser inside an operating system, and everything is the same. You just need to look for the images. Another benefit is, if you're looking for images instead of selectors, you don't get crazy text-only error messages where you have an element not found or something. It takes a lot of knowledge to dive into these error messages to understand what went wrong. But if you just have to compare two images, then it would be much easier and takes less technical skill. Now, let's go to the slide. Next slide, this is the status quo. That is what a lot of software companies offer. On the bottom, for example, you see Playwright, and it can do image-based recognition, but if you look into the code, you just see the file name containing the image, which is not very helpful. You have other tools like Tosca here. You have small images, but a lot of information how to detect that image is hidden between pop-up windows that you need to navigate through. Same as here, Catalog Studios, you just see image file names, and on the right you see our tool, which you see in a bit again. Okay, what is the problem? How do I find an image that I'm looking for on a screenshot? Still, the best algorithm to date is template scanning. We just search for the image, go through the whole screenshot, and look where on this screen is my image. And what this comes down to, you always need to compare two images and see if they are equal. This is an example from our website. This is a logo, a mail logo, and for some reason, it sometimes renders randomly a half a pixel display. And if I now compare these two images, pixel by pixel, you see that anti-aliasing works a bit different, and I see large pixel-wise differences. So this is the problem. This is one of the problems that subpixel rendering isn't really stable for that. The next problem is how closely do you want to match them? Here is an example also from our own software. You see differences. If you are too far, I don't know if this works differently for people sitting in the back, but if you're too far away, you see nothing. It looks like the same image. If you zoom in correctly, you see a very important difference. Is it a 5 or an 8? This might look exactly the same. If you zoom even more closely, you see only 2 pixels are missing. I have only 2 pixels less, but a 5 is an 8. So if anyone works in the financial area, you know that 5 and 8 make a big difference. And it gets more complicated. Every new browser version has a new font rendering algorithm, I don't know for what, but every time a small pixel-wise change from letter to letter lets the text on the right-hand side move and fluctuate by many, many pixels. So that's the problem that you face when you try to test if two images contain the same content. Before I go into the technical details, what we have done there, let me just remind you of one caveat. The AI won't solve everything. In the end, a human needs to look if this is the same image or not. If something changes, sometimes you have a different font, it's maybe too difficult for the AI to check if that has the same content or meaning or alignment or whatever style guides are necessary in the environment. So, how did we solve the problem? We have two problems here. We have displacements and we have color changes. And that's what I want to talk about now. How do we cover displacements and how do we tackle color changes? Displacements, we have just collected tens of thousands of images and put them into a machine learning kernel. So we just trained it. It took about 20,000 weights on this kernel. The kernel is a bit wider than it is high because vertical shifts occur less frequently than horizontal ones. That's the training data here, a few examples here, how this was shifted. And then we train the environment for checking if two images are the same. Here you see also a few examples from the training set. 7 by 7 pixels or 9 by 9 here works pretty well. 30,000 weights for this one and 40,000 image pairs. That was used for training data. And finally, one thing is how do you compare two colors? Here, I don't know if some of you are colorblind, but even people who are not colorblind find these colors very, very similar. This is the night vision mode from Apple and has a very big difference in the blue channel from 0 to 100. So you need to be careful what is the same color. Is it more from a human perspective or do you compare pixels? So there are well-known color models to compare this. That's something you need to keep in mind because otherwise people just say, why is this different? Why is this picture flagged as different when it looks the same? Okay, so with this all in mind, we can use images for the test description. Here you see an example, also a screenshot from our software. You see, you can read what the test is doing, which website you open, but it mostly consists of images that you interact with. And then we can run a lot of tests with this. And with tester.io, we are doing this for a number of companies where we run on a daily basis or as part of a build pipeline, and everything is visual, and you see error message also visually. So, let me summarize this talk. So, it is possible to use images as selectors. It has a large potential to make everything more readable. The error cases can be seen. You can always compare two images. We show them with animations, so you quickly can spot what is different. Open issues are, of course, if you have major design changes, it's difficult. Where do you put the sensitivity? It will not understand what is, from a human perspective, acceptable and what not. So, thank you very much. This is the talk. Please connect. Please connect if you want, and vote for us, or give feedback, good or bad, to us on this QR code on the right. Thank you very much.